Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video, I will show you a clear example of masochism, or if not masochism, a spin of truth in such a way that some people expect us to like something that should not be liked, which is, the definition of masochism. That is, I like causing own pain. That is, hurting myself creates pain. That's masochism. And sadism is getting pleasure out of hurting someone else. Sadism, getting pleasure hurting myself. So this is the European Union, or some European countries. They are masochists, according to this article coming from the Telegraph, which tells us that Europe broke free from buying Russian oil, therefore hurting itself because they have to pay more now for the same oil coming from Russia through an intermediary. That means the price jumped. Idiotic. Or you tell me, who would push this kind of idiotic idea that that's a good thing, we broke free? It's like you were shackled and say, well, that's a bullet over there that I can use, or I'm shackled. All right, well, maybe I can use my own bullet to hurt myself forever, instead of being shackled, if these two are the only options. But I think there's a third option as well, which is do business with countries freely. Here is the article, and it comes from the Telegraph right there. Blow to Putin as Europe breaks free of Russian oil for good. So how is this blow to Putin? Obviously, there's no direct blow to Putin because he has everything he had before. That's for sure. Now, if you think Putin's country, have you seen the Russian revenues, profits, and Russia's economy? Russia's economy is going up. And on the contrast, the Europe's economy is going down since they imposed the sanctions and price caps and all this garbage. So who's doing better? You obviously don't hurt Russia. You hurt yourselves. So they want to celebrate as a break free. You didn't break free. But anyway, you didn't break free. Let me see. Let me see what these guys have to say. Western Europe has broken free of direct Russian oil imports for good in a blow to Vladimir Putin. So they are going to buy Russian oil, but not directly. That means there's going to be an intermediary who's going to siphon or suck the Russian oil from the tanker, put it on a different tanker with a different name, and sell it to you. Now all that process will be charged on you. So instead of paying this amount from Russia, you're going to pay this amount from India. Congratulations. Russia will sell its oil and you're going to buy more. Now how are you going to pay for it since you don't produce squat? You have two options. One is to borrow money from the international bankers. We don't know their names, but they are over there somehow. And then the other one is printing more money. Both of them meaning inflation, and you become strangled and shackled by the bankers. And who's going to pay for that? You, your children, your nation, future generations. Congratulations. But hey, you broke free. Really? Okay, well, if you like it, that's good. And remember, Russia is not hurt by that. They tell you it's hurt. But it's not. Russia found other markets available over there and still sells its oil and gas and everything they have. Why? Because you see, people need that. And Al Capone cannot forbid everyone from buying Russian oil and gas, which is China, India, and many, many other countries. Idiotic, idiotic. But hey, own nothing and be happy about it. Remember? Analysts found that UK and much of Europe have reversed a year-long rise in reliance on Russian oil and gas before the Ukraine conflict, shifting instead to other suppliers such as US and Canada. Premium prices. I know that from articles, US's liquefied natural gas sold to Germany is between 3 and 4 times more expensive than the Russian gas that used to come through pipes. So then, what is that? What do you think? Who do you think is going to pay the difference? You. And the politicians who enacted this kind of garbage are still there. Why? Because they did a great job for their paymasters, not for you. So where's the celebration? And remember, when they said we broke free from the Russians, we broke free from the Russians, but now you don't break free from US and Canada. Let's say Canada decides to blackmail you. Who are you going to run to? Or Canada? The guys across the Atlantic, Zimbabwe, you remember? They made you get angry with someone who was a reliable partner, as the Russians said. We're partners. You're not partners, my friends. You're competitors and at times enemies. Now, the Russian partners provided you reliable, cheap gas. Now, you're upset with those guys, so you have only one more option, US and Canada. So who can blackmail whom? Now, if Europe says, we're upset, we don't like US what you do, and you says, okay, US says, we're not going to give you gas, what are you going to do? Where are you going to buy your gas and oil? From Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia is part of BRICS, just to remind you, as an, just a caveat. And they instead of expanding their production, they limit their production. Why? Because your stupid sanctions, and not only. So what are you going to do? You can't go back to Russia. These guys are going to fuck you up. You can't go back to these guys that are blackmail you. So you have, instead of having two options, two-party system, which is one, now you have one. So that one, if that goes, you're dying. So who can hold you by the balls? Russia or United States of America? United States of America. Now, if you tell me the United States of America will never do that because it's a good country, let's get real, okay? Let's stop the science fiction movie here. Let's move on. We have this senior vice president for oil markets said, I think people underestimated how flexible the energy system is. No, it's not flexible. You cut your balls off from two options to one. That's what you did. On the contrary, it's not more flexible now than it was before because you don't have options. It's like you go to a store and before you had, let's say, Adidas shoe and Nike shoe. Now let's say you don't have the Adidas because of the now you have the how do you call it, the Nike shoe, and you say it's more the flexible market. Where is the flexibility? I got only one provider, which is United States. Canada sells oil and gas to the Europeans because United States allows them. Do you think that if United States gets angry with the Europeans and the Europeans say, you know what, we don't like what you do, and the American says, okay, we're not going to sell you anything, fuck it, put an embargo on you, or we're going to sanction you. And do you think that the Europeans will tell the Canadians, hey, Canadians, Trudeau, can you give us? Trudeau will look down south. Can I? May I? And the Americans will say, niet. And Trudeau is going to be, okay, let me change my different socks, different colors. Jesus Christ, that's the way it is, my friends. And he says, just before the war, I'm quoting, just the idea of we're going to stop buying oil and gas directly from Russia would have been crazy, but it has largely happened. Let's celebrate, uncork a champagne. We screwed ourselves. Well, it was crazy, the idea, because they knew that you're going to shoot yourselves in the foot. But now it's not, so you're crazy. According to Eurostat, in 2020, imports from Russia made up 39 PC of the gas percentage of the gas used in European Union, 23% of oil imports and 46% of coal imports. The UK relied on Russia for about 3 CPC of its diesel, 26% of its coal, and up to 10% on its gas, which arrived partly on ships and as liquefied natural gas and partly via trans-European pipelines. An official figure that has now fallen to practically zero. Now you tell me, if you would be producing, if you would have a vibrant economy, if you would be a strong country, and if there would be really competition on the market, then you can pick and choose. Like, I don't like to buy my shoes from this store, I can go to that store, I can go to that store, and all these stores have a great diversity of products. Then you say, yeah, I don't like you, but I can pick this, I can pay more a little bit here, but these guys treat me better than the other guys. I would be all right. But this decision to sanction themselves was not based on a market calculation. It was on supposedly moral judgment, which the moral judgment was imposed not by the United States of America, by people in charge of the United States of America. And those guys are not in Washington, D.C., just so you know. Those are just the guys that are communicating to us what we must do. All right, well, I think this is masochistic. Yeah, we broke free. Yeah, I'm going to use an American bullet now. We broke free, pop. We're not going to use a Russian bullet. We're going to use an American. That's better. Still a bullet, but nevertheless. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.